Cherry on. Dude, when in doubt, Allison chains it out, right? That's the move. Dude, Sean Rosario, welcome to Defender of the Riff.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What is up, dude?
Super stoked to be here.
How
man.
you doing?
Thank you so much.
I feel like we're already best friends. You rolled in with sick guitars, sick taste in shirts.
Dude.
Hell yeah. We broke down instantly over some Canada shit. We're good.
Dude, here to stay.
Hell yeah, man. Well, appreciate you coming by. This is basically the opportunity for two guitar players to sit with each other and talk about the shit we actually care about.
Fuck yeah, I'm here for it.
These!
Can I curse on this?
Hell yeah, man.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, you could literally say whatever the fuck you want. That's the deal.
Hell yeah.
That's the deal.
Love
Enjoy
it.
yourself, get comfy. Let's get down to it.
Let's get it, dude.
Hell yeah. I mean, we've never hung out. I feel like we just spent the last 5 minutes becoming best friends, but you didn't tell me anything about yourself, really. So, like, kind of take me back to the beginning. Like, where does Sean figure out that he fucking loves rock and roll and wants to play guitar?
Dude, I think the biggest thing I could say about that is I got to pay all my respect to my father. My dad's a rocker. Love you, Kenny. He's been in a rock band or, like, a wedding band for 30 years. So he always like yard work around the house, driving in the car, going to his gigs. Like I was very influenced by his musical taste, which is like classic rock. And I'd say the first inkling of like inspiration that really came to me from what he was showing me was AC/DC. Like,
nice.
And seeing, not only just hearing it, but seeing live videos, I was like, once I saw Angus Young play, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So to answer your question is like, I mean, I got to thank my dad for that. I mean, he's like my biggest hero in music.
I mean, like, who doesn't fall in love with the instant image of a crazy little Australian man running around in a schoolboy outfit with an SG?
I wanted an SG so bad.
Same. I wanted one of those. I wanted literally the cherry SG that Angus played for my entire young life, dude. Totally.
We're in the same boat, man.
Dude, totally. Even though like a lot of the like cool guys, like your Jimmy Pages and Ace Frehleys and Jeff Becks are all playing like Les Pauls, I was like, dude, SG all the way.
Well, that plus because they were a lot lighter and like not being a big dude, I was like, it's gonna kill my back. We're playing like a Les Paul, like you're saying. It
still manages to look massive on Angus though because he's so small. Okay, I think that's actually a really funny observation. The first time I saw a photo of an SG on Angus Young, I'm like, look at that huge spiky blue guitar, like that thing rules.
Yeah.
And then I finally like, put one on, like I'm 11 or 12 at a music store, and it's just this like tiny little thing that flops down like this, and it's just like,
am I just huge?
This is like the weirdest guitar in the world.
Ukulele?
It's like tiny little thing. It's crazy. Talk about a crazy perception. So is your dad in the wedding band? Was he a lead guitar player, or what was his role?
No, so surprisingly, he's a drummer.
Okay.
So I picked up drums for the first time, and then his brother, because he comes from a pretty big musical family, so his older brother, Charlie, actually brought over a guitar as I was growing up, probably like 11 or 12, and I just fell in love with it. It was like the sickest all-black Squire. And I started playing around with it, and I was like, yo, I think I'm going to make my transition.
Body?
Yeah, exactly. But it sounded amazing, and like it like opened up a different door for me other than like playing drums and like understanding rhythm, and like I think that was an important thing for a guitar player, is like getting really good with my hands and understanding rhythm and feeling a beat. But once I picked up the guitar, I was just like, oh, like you can make notes and like weird sounds and like you can put a distortion on and delay and reverb. So that's when like I got that bug and I just took off with it, with the guitar.
It's like really interesting. I'm sort of like, I feel like the opposite.
Really? Okay.
So like started with guitar and like all I can think about is becoming a drummer. You were the drummer that like kind of like, fuck that, I want to play guitar.
Dude, straight up.
Dude, like at band practice when anyone leaves the room for like a smoke break or bathroom break, like the first thing I do is jump behind the drum kit and play drums terribly like a guitar player.
Dude, same. Especially like when you spend that much time not doing it. Like for myself personally,
Yeah.
getting behind the kit again, I'm just like, ugh. I should have stayed with it a little bit.
Dude, I'm telling you, like if any drummer comes back in while I'm playing their kit, the look of horror on their face at how hard and improperly I'm smashing their brand new drumsticks into their brand new drum heads. And their cymbals, yeah.
Oh, dude.
I'm just like railing on these things, yeah. Not how it's done.
I get it,
True
man.
guitar player's touch.
Yeah, not the cheapest instrument and
No.
so tough to lug around.
Exactly. But back to you, ripping on a all black Strat, Squire.
Yeah.
Who are like the guitar gods for you at this point in your life? Who's the posters on your childhood wall?
Dude, honestly, it was, so being from Seattle,
Yeah.
I think that's a very influential thing for me because my dad, growing up in Seattle as well, I mean, he introduced me to all the Seattle bands, like starting with Jimi Hendrix. So Jimi Hendrix was a huge poster on my wall. Big fan of him. I mean, that's partially the reason why I really love the Strat body is Hendrix. Listening to all his records, and then from there, had to get into the grunge stuff. So,
You know any Hendrix licks?
let's see. Dude, I was thinking about this. I was like, how much of the old stuff do I remember? It's like
riding a bike, man.
oh, you played on the
Sick.
neck. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Funky, dude.
Fuck yeah. So yeah, of course, the first Seattle rock star.
Right.
Yeah.
So him, and then we're in an Alice in Chains shirt. I can't deny the fact that Jerry Cantrell is like a guitar god to me as well. Just like his style and like, I mean, with the grunge movement and just, I think like the darkness behind it,
Yeah.
like really caught my attention. So that, Kurt Cobain was a big one for me. I mean, I think for me, like an important aspect of guitar playing is being a guitar player that serves the song, right? And I love people like Dimebag Darrell was a big influence for me. And I feel like his writing very much influenced the song, but he was a shredder, right? So that caught a lot of people's attention. So I'm all about, not trying to overdo it in terms of how I want the people to perceive the band versus the guitar player in the band, if that makes sense.
No, of course it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say you're not looking to be perceived as the guitar player in the band, like to take that approach. When like, to me, the guy you mentioned, Dimebag Darrell's like the number one example of a guitar player who outshines almost in a way. Like, you don't talk about the guitars in Pantera, you talk about Dime in Pantera.
Exactly.
Like, he's the exception to the guys you listed, I think. Like, he's like an aura that's beyond, like, it's its own thing. It's beyond the person almost. It's crazy.
For sure. And I
It's
mean,
like Dime is a sound. It's crazy.
Exactly, and people try to emulate that. And not that people don't do that with other bands or
Yeah.
artists, but he was definitely a guy that, yeah, like you're saying too, I 100% agree. Like, his popularity outgrew the band, which I think is a great thing. I mean, you go with it. I mean, he was so talented. It's like, why not take that ship and go with it?
I love that the other one, of course, is Jerry, because I think Jerry applies to exactly what you said. The guitar player that writes to serve the song. He has like an incredible sense of like when to hold back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Especially when it comes to the gymnastics element of it. Like some of his he focuses less on, I find, like amount of notes in a run as to like the note choices. A lot of guys we want to,
For
still
sure.
interesting notes, but fast runs. Like, can we get it faster? Can we get it fuller? Like Jerry can do that shit, but also does the single note selections like pretty much as good as anyone ever.
yeah,
Like,
man.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that too. Like, when you were telling me that too, I was thinking about the wood riff, which, I mean, it's so simple and straightforward, but it's just like, it carries so much weight and emotion to it. For me, it's just...
Yeah, it's like atmosphere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I feel like, how he wrote really served the song, but also, I mean, in my opinion, it really complemented Lane's vocals and his vocals with them together.
Jerry's like low key, like almost the better
He's
singer
got
of the
pipes,
two.
man.
Yeah. Dude, Jerry's an unbelievable vocalist. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing to point out too is how he wrote to be able to sing and play at the same time. I mean, that's just my perception. Because segueing into that is another big influence for me. I don't know why I didn't bring this up in the first place, but Metallica was a huge one for me too.
Sure.
Like James Hetfield.
James is like your guy.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah.
And because the thing about him too that I watched all their documentaries was he wasn't like a classically trained musician.
No, not at all.
So, and that's the same thing for me is just learning from the internet and watching videos and being like, I don't know what note this is, but this is where he puts his fingers. So that was a big influence for me. I was like, okay, this dude is super rich and famous and in a huge band, but he doesn't really know music. He does it because he feels it, not because he knows it on like a certain technical level, right?
He's got like such a fuck off attitude to his playing and stuff too. Like that's always been his thing. Eat fuck. Yeah. And that's the attitude he brings and the way he sings and plays. And for a guy who comes in with that type of attitude, it's like wild that he is pretty much he is the best. Like who plays rhythm guitar and sings better than that, and also like the songwriting element too. To be that full package, like it's the reason why he's fucking pop ahead.
Oh, dude, 100%.
100%.
And the other thing about him too that I really admire, and something I do incorporate into my playing, is down picking. So a lot of times people will do like shredders have to do like the economy picking, but a lot of like one of our riffs in Hypochondria in one of our songs, just. And I feel like
that sick ass riff.
Dude, it's just tough.
Yeah.
And it sounds so good when you're just going down and digging into it instead of. It still sounds sick, but.
No, the down picking is what makes that riff.
Yeah, and it's easier to do live because I'm all amped up, but it sounds, when you dig into something, there's just like that aggression from just down picking and digging into something.
So you got to chunk it. All right.
100%.
So let me get this straight. We got classic rock sounds of Hendrix, your Seattle Jerry obsession, of course, you know, as one should, and Metallica. So you're like pretty much, you and I come from very much the same school.
Dude.
These are like three of my favorite sounds and the same, my kind of gateway.
Yeah.
So this is all like really young. I said, tell me about your like posters on your wall. At some point, you got to start, stop listening to your dad's music and kind of going out on your own and getting into the punk stuff and the more like modern metal of the time. What's your journey through that world?
Man, it's very interesting. Like, I thought about this too, and I definitely feel like where you grow up can be a huge influence on the kind of music you are introduced to, even though it's within like a 30-minute range. Like I used to go to a school that was like a very farm area school.
Like
a lot of
rural school?
Yeah, and so that's where like I picked up like Pantera and a band that was actually from Seattle called Forced Entry. Another thrash band, right? So I got really deep into like the thrash stuff, and then transitioned into a different school to play sports, and that's where people were listening to like, dude, like Bury Your Dead, like heavy bands like that. I kind of skipped the punk one. Okay. I got into Ramones early on, but I started getting into like the
70s
heavy
punk.
Dude, yeah.
You didn't like to have a pop punk phase or anything like that? Or?
I came back to that like later in life, like in my early 20s.
You kind of skipped the hardcore dude phase, went straight like into the metal kid phase and came back around to it.
Yeah, so, and that's what I was saying too in terms of like where I grew up and going from school to school in like a different area. And it was only like a 30-minute drive. Well, everyone there was listening to like, like hardcore bands like Bury Your Dead, Despise Icon, Between the Buried and Me was another band. So I started getting into like the screaming stuff and the breakdowns and like the blast beats. And I was like, dude, this is gnarly. And I only got into it until, it took me a while to get into it. I had to see it live.
Sure. Oh yeah, those shows are wild. Right?
And it didn't, like that stuff didn't really translate to me via like a record or, like over an iPod in a car. So I had to see that stuff live. And that's where like, I started diving deeper into like the really heavy stuff and the screaming stuff. And even like the emo stuff, like
that's a pretty, I think, common, at least in my mind, a common observation is that some of those bands, I mean, a lot of those bands from that scene, it's really about the live experience. Yeah. And the fans give that off too. Like, if you're into that kind of music, you're almost guaranteed to be into the culture of going to the shows and the festivals and making trips out of it. Like, You know,
Yeah.
not every scene's like that. I mean, metal's kind of like that too, to a certain degree. There is its own pockets of scene like that, but in that type of world, of the more aggressive in the hardcore world, like it's part of the culture. If you like the music, you love doing the social element of it too, and like going to the shows and
For sure.
witnessing it live. That's where it really hits. I'm like, dude, I'm the same way. I heard lots of shit on CD that like didn't
sure.
fucking kick it off for me, and then I
Oh,
then I went to like, my first fucking intense breakdown show, and I'm like, oh yeah,
You're like, I get this.
like I totally get this. This is a live experience waiting to happen.
For sure. And
Yeah.
it's just like the energy that goes into that room from that music it's something else that you can't describe to somebody. Right? And I think that's where I really caught that bug of like, okay, I'm gonna start getting like into the heavy shit.
Hell yeah.
Right? But now I'm getting into, like the punk stuff, and I think that's a huge influence for how we write and who we are as a band is like anything that's like pop punk adjacent, like metalcore, metal, thrash riffs, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, Dragged Under is definitely of that mindset and that sound. Been doing this since 2020-ish.
Yes, exactly. I was actually trying to think. I was like, has it really been that long?
When, like, what were you doing in between that time? Like, were you always putting together bands, or where are you at in your like band life right now?
I mean, the band I was in previous before that
Yeah.
was more of like a hobby band. It's like a lot of dudes who toured already, but weren't willing to, drop their lives to just travel the world, right? Because we just knew like we have a lot going on right now at home, and we don't want to jeopardize that. And I got a call or a message from one of the guitar players in this band, and I was like, hey man, like we're looking for another guy. And at that point in my life, I already bought a home. I already kind of like settled down in my life personally, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit to like just being a hobbyist. I still love music, but I don't have it in me to like go out and like try to sacrifice a lot. But once I got this opportunity, it struck me that this was what I really been waiting for. Like that fire got lit hard again.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like this is my opportunity to finally like live out my dream of being a musician. And like everything has been such a vivid dream up until that point. Like playing outside at festivals, meeting certain people that I've met doing this, and traveling the world, like going to Europe and the UK. Like so before that, it wasn't really like a goal of mine to be here. So it's kind of, I mean, for me, kind of crazy. Like I'm sitting here. So that's why it's such an honor. I'm like, man, I could have just been a normal Joe.
Yeah, I've noticed that since, we first started communicating in, preparation for this, is like you were so grateful and positive about everything. Like you got the right attitude, man. 100%.
I appreciate it. So, I mean, that's another thing too that I think it's important that if where I'm at, because we're not a huge band, but one of the most important things I would try to remind myself is just always be who I am. Right? Never forget where you come from. Always say hi to fans. Do your best to just be a good dude and be a nice dude. Because I feel like that gets you a lot further in life than a lot of things.
So what's going on with this band now? I know members, revolving door type situation. Like what's going on with you with this band? How many shows you guys got coming up? Tell me a little bit about that half of the life.
I mean, that's been like a very tough subject for us recently. I mean, so we had 3 members leave. And, it's challenging, man. Like, once I feel like music becomes a business and not a hobby, which, I mean, I still try to treat it as fun and having fun, but you still need to make moves, because it comes down to, pushing the needle, right? So as far as, what we have planned right now, is just really securing a solid lineup of dudes that not only just are good players, but another really important thing is, people we can really get along with. And I think that's, neck and neck, almost more important to me, somebody that I can enjoy being around. So locking in a good, solid group of guys, and planning on going in to do our 3rd record right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sucks when the tough decisions have to be made, but it's like a more common situation than not. Making this work isn't easy. Interpersonal band relationships aren't easy. You got to keep it as family as possible, but at the end of the day, like there's a job to get done, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's very easy and it can be taken for granted. It's like it's fucking difficult.
And I think there's a big difference between like small bands and giant bands. Like there's a huge gap of like how easy it is. Like where we're at now, we're still grinding. Like when we're touring, we're driving ourselves. We're getting very little sleep, not eating the way we want to. So those are things that, I mean, are tough, but are, kind of season you and they make it worth it. Once you get to that point where, like, starting to get, like, some little changes, right? Like, doing stuff like this, it's like, okay, maybe one day we're playing this stage, the side stage, and then in a year or two from now, we can, like, be opening for the main stage or headlining it eventually, right? It's the motivation that keeps us going. Right?
Dude, I'm telling you, your outpouring of positivity, it's fucking contagious. I know you're in the middle of a grind, so I appreciate you taking so much time and hanging out with me. I feel remiss we didn't talk about at least this guitar once. Let's fucking do this. I could sit and talk with you about you and your story forever. We should definitely do this again.
Yes.
But let's nail this, because I see you've got the very exclusive custom gaff tape pickup cover.
Yeah.
What was in there? Why'd you take it out? What's going on here?
Dude, so big shout out to Schecter. I mean, these are hogs. I love them. They get beat up because I just thrash them around and throw them around.
Yeah.
But shout out to Schecter, Adam Murphy at Schecter for hooking it up. So this is actually the Jack Fowler. Jack Fowler is a previously of Sleeping with Sirens.
Cool.
And now he plays with Jelly Roll. So this is his signature guitar that they came out with. And I decided to do some upgrades just because they're playing more like country rock. So they had more of like what Schecter is, I would say their pickup they designed for this was like a JB. Right, which is a sick pickup, but I needed something a little hotter, so I put in their Apocalypse pickup. And the other pickup's here, but I was tweaking around with it. I lost a spring in there. The screws came loose. I mean, I just been throwing it around, so I decided rather than hunting down a spring and a screw when we were on tour, I just threw a little gaff tape over it.
Yeah.
I don't do much of this. I think earlier I was trying to do that and it sounded sick. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a riff machine. And I truly believe that it's not the guitar that you have, it's who's playing it, right? Not to say I'm like the sickest guitar player, but I truly believe that, if you're a decent musician, that you can make something sound sick, right?
Absolutely, dude. Some wise words. You're awesome. Honestly, I could do an hour with you anytime. Easy. Yeah, we should do.
We'll book it.
Yeah, we should hang, do a fucking long chat sometime. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much,
dude. Sean, thank you so much for hanging, bro. It was great getting to know you.
Oh yeah, man.
Fuck yeah. Oh, dude, play a sick riff before we go. It's a guitar show. Oh, shit. We're having so much fun, like hanging. Yeah, it's a fucking guitar show. Play me this fucking sickest drop C sharp dragged under riff. Show me something dope. That riff you were playing before was sick. Play me another one of those.
Oh, okay. So the other one's Suffer.
Yeah.
Off our latest record. It's called Upright Animals. So
that's a sick ass riff.
Thanks, brother.
Dude, fucking A. Sean Rosario, a true defender of the riff.
Dude.